On a cold morning in 2023, a massive warehouse on the outskirts of Shenzhen collapsed without warning. The official reports called it a tragic accident, structural failure, bad luck. But for a small group of women in the company's offices, the explanation felt too neat. They knew the building's history and the people involved. For them, the collapse was more than a random tragedy. It was a puzzle demanding answers. This event became a turning point, showing how ordinary people can find extraordinary courage in the face of injustice. The story isn't about falling steel, but about the women who refused to accept easy answers. They noticed details others missed, heard whispers others ignored, and felt compelled to uncover the truth. Their journey would challenge a powerful company and force a government to rethink its laws. The initial news painted chaos and grief, with the company promising a full investigation. But behind the scenes, a different story was unfolding. In accounting, logistics, and HR, a few women began connecting the dots. They weren't engineers or inspectors, but their positions gave them access to pieces of a sinister puzzle. Their story is a lesson in the importance of small details and the courage to question the official narrative. These women didn't set out to be heroes. They were just doing their jobs with integrity. But when they encountered a lie, they couldn't let it stand. They risked their careers and safety to honor the victims and prevent future tragedies. Their determination sparked a revolution in workplace safety and accountability. It began not with protest, but with a shared, unspoken sense that something was terribly wrong. Sometimes the smallest voices can shake the foundations of power. And sometimes, a tragedy is just the beginning of a much bigger story. After the collapse, the company and officials blamed heavy rains and old construction. The public mourned, demanded answers, and the company promised reforms. Most accepted the explanation and moved on. But inside the company, a few women were skeptical. May, a logistics manager, knew the collapsed section was recently reinforced. Why would it fail first? Lynn, in accounting, noticed inflated invoices for minor repairs, while major flagged issues were ignored. These inconsistencies formed a troubling pattern. The women didn't know each other well, but shared uneasy glances in the hallway. The official story felt too convenient, too clean. Their doubts quietly grew into a determination to uncover the real cause. For them, the case wasn't closed, the seeds of doubt had been planted, and a courageous journey was about to begin. The women's suspicions were grounded in facts that contradicted the official story. The collapse happened at 4 a.m., when the warehouse was nearly empty, a suspiciously convenient time. The failure was concentrated in the section storing high-value, insured electronics, while older sections remained intact. An engineer friend explained that rain-induced foundation failure would have caused widespread damage, not targeted destruction. Lynn found draft inspection reports flagging vulnerabilities in the collapsed area, warnings erased from final versions. She also discovered a spike in the warehouse's insurance policy just weeks before the incident. The evidence pointed to deliberate sabotage for an insurance payout. The official story was a cover-up. The women realized they were witnesses to a massive fraud. They could no longer stay silent. The truth was dangerous, but it had to come out. Their next steps would require even greater courage. The women launched a secret investigation, gathering evidence piece by piece. Lynn downloaded draft reports, insurance policies, and incriminating emails. May cross-referenced shipping logs, proving high-value goods were moved to the doomed section just before the collapse. Gia, a junior architect, recreated the warehouse in 3D and ran simulations. Only Sabotage could explain the collapse pattern. They met in secret, compiling their findings into a single, airtight file. Lynn provided the financial motive, May the logistics, Gia the engineering proof. Together, they built an undeniable case. Their investigation was complete. They held the truth in their hands, a dangerous secret. Now they had to decide how to expose it. The stakes had never been higher. The women knew the risks of speaking out. Others who'd raised concerns, like Safety Supervisor Chen, were silenced or transferred. A junior legal assistant who questioned the insurance spike was threatened with termination. The company's message was clear: don't challenge authority. Fear and isolation kept most employees quiet. The women realized acting alone was futile. Only by standing together could they hope to succeed. Their collective strength was their shield. The company could dismiss one voice, but not a united front armed with evidence. They chose solidarity over silence. Their courage would be tested, but together they were unstoppable. The women knew local authorities might be compromised. They compiled their evidence into an encrypted dossier, calling themselves the Alliance of Truth. Through a trusted contact, they delivered the file directly to a national anti-corruption agency in Beijing. The dossier included a clear summary, timelines, draft reports, insurance contracts, inventory logs, and GIA's simulations. They offered to testify, but only with protection. The agency responded quickly. Investigators arrived in Shenzhen, quietly securing records and raiding the company's headquarters. Executives were caught off guard. The evidence was overwhelming. The alliance's findings were confirmed. Arrests followed, and a criminal investigation began. The truth was finally out. The women's courage had broken the silence. Justice was in motion. The trial became national news. Executives were convicted of fraud and endangerment. But the real story was the Alliance of Truth. Ordinary women who risked everything. Their bravery sparked a national debate on whistleblower protection. The government responded with sweeping reforms. China's first comprehensive whistleblower law was enacted, banning retaliation and protecting those who report wrongdoing. Anonymous reporting channels and rewards for whistleblowers were established. The law shifted power, giving workers real protection for the first time. The Alliance's actions created a lasting legal framework. Their courage changed the system for future generations. They proved that collective action can rewrite the rules. A legal revolution had begun. The women's legacy is built on two pillars: documentation and solidarity. Their case succeeded because they gathered hard evidence, emails, logs, simulations. Documentation turned suspicion into undeniable proof. For anyone witnessing wrongdoing, save the files, note the details, build your case. Facts are your shield. The second lesson is solidarity. Alone, each woman was vulnerable. Together, they were strong. Their alliance provided support, strategy, and courage. Change doesn't require power, just unity and truth. Their story shows that collective action transforms whispers into a roar for justice. The Alliance of Truth reminds us, we are not alone. By building trust and standing together, we can hold power accountable. Courage and solidarity are our greatest strengths. This is a story of courage, of seeing the truth, questioning lies, and speaking out when silence is safer. Each woman's private act of bravery sparked a movement. Heroism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's as quiet as saving a file. They weren't seeking fame, just justice for the victims. Their actions show that anyone can be courageous. A single voice, joined by others, becomes unstoppable. Their story didn't end with convictions. It changed laws and inspired a culture of accountability. They proved that one person, united with others, can change the world. Let their story inspire us to stand up for what's right. The power of a single voice, magnified by many, is the greatest force for good.